ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaste my dear friends, this is video number 5 on the life beyond death. This video starts with how to deal with visitations. Although the phenomena of visitations by spirit are rare, there is no end to the misery of persons who fall in this unfortunate situation. Experience tells us that two-thirds of the reported incidents of haunting are figments of imagination of the subject because of fear. As mentioned earlier, because of weak will, the person concerned is troubled by an imaginary spirit of one's own creation. The root cause of this imaginary creation is ignorance, educational and social backwardness, weakness of inner self, and superstition. For an individual who does not lack courage and makes it a habit to investigate the cause of fear, such imaginary ghosts cease to exist. Illusions like the noise created by rats, branches, and foliages of plants, simulating movements of human body in the dark, disturbances created by monkeys and cats, etc., are at times mistaken for activities of ghosts. Some mischievous or cunning individual may also make arrangements to simulate a visitation. If seriously investigated, reason for such spurious phenomena can be found and misgivings removed. It is possible to get relief from two-thirds of such problems of visitations by educating people through a forceful revolution against superstition. Almost half of the remaining factual incidents of haunting are because of the cloning by the bioelectrical particles dispersed by human bodies. These bioelectric robots are effective in particular places within limited spatial limits, and that too for an individual who stays at that place in isolation. Spirits lose much of their power of manifestation in a crowd since the bioelectric clones have limited energy. They generally make their presence felt by such insignificant acts as by making themselves visible, producing some sound, or enacting a scene. The terrorized person coming across this phenomena harms his own self in fear. Otherwise, most of these images produced by bioelectric particles do not have the capacity to help or harm anyone. Houses where visitations are reported should be properly cleaned and disinfected. It would be helpful to fill the closed apartment with smoke created by burning herbs like neem. The Indian remedy of performing yagna is found very efficacious. Religious rituals like jagran, singing of hymns with accompaniment of musical instruments, mass prayers, sounding conch shells also help in expelling such images of ghosts. To begin with, a patient suffering from hallucination of spirits may be treated by giving him a healthy, invigorating diet. Herbal medicines such as Brahmi, Sat- Satwari, Amla, Salab, Gorakhmandi, Sant Khaps, Shankhapushpi, Bach, etc., and massaging head and body with Brahmi and Amla oil are helpful. If a person is feeling reluctant to stay at some place, it is advisable to shift him to a place of his choice. As far as possible, an attempt may be made to keep the patient relaxed, contented, and happy. A sympathetic attitude and brain tonic would show a remarkable recovery in such patients. At times, a person relieves in being possessed by a powerful spirit against which the patient feels utterly helpless. Such weak-willed patients are required to be treated by enacting a make-believe play to make him satisfied that the so-called ghost has been pacified and forced to depart. Thus, the illusion of the spirit is removed by creating an equally forceful illusion about its exit. Persons feeling possessed by spirits are generally weak-willed and highly emotional. They can be set right by some awe-inspiring, mysterious, dramatic devices. The so-called occult phenomena in planchette, automatic writing, and other such things are nothing but a reflection of individual or collective power of mind of the person or persons participating in the act. It is doubtful whether a departed spirit can communicate through material. The readers are advised to desist from such activities. It is also not proper to show undue interest in ghosts and spirits one's own one's own. However, if someone falls prey to them, it is necessary to make an endeavor to get rid of the evil. Chapter 8. Death to require preparation. It is indisputable that whosoever is born is destined to die. We are also going to die one day. If preparations for that great journey are made right now, since the time of death is unpredictable, the apprehensions and misery at the moment of death can be avoided. Regarding death as a remote possibility and considering the issue irrelevant now for oneself, all ultimately turns out to be a very painful experience. In the scheme of God, human life is meant to serve a great purpose. After inhabiting millions of body forms in species of the lower order for times immemorial and making considerable effort, the soul ultimately evolves to a state worthy of human life. Could there be a greater folly if instead of utilizing this jewel of life, one wastes it in trivi- trivialities? The great objective of human life is to make an outright endeavor for communion with God and thereby achieve the most elevated status in the biological kingdom. But how many of us even give it a thought? Look around and you will find everyone running recklessly in the mad race for fulfillment of the never ending list of desires. Most of us are perpetually engaged in sensual gratification, basking in self glorification, feeling contented in one's own little world of mistaken values and other such ephemeral achievements. While we are busy in creating mirages in our life again and again, reproaching ourselves for repeated self generated follies, the valuable moments of golden opportunity in life pass speedily. Unaware of the loss, we continue to spend precious moments of life in insignificant activities. Death should never be taken for granted. It is lurking anywhere, anytime to claim any one of us as its next victim. Who knows whether one is going to see the tomorrow for which he is planning today? It should be most unfortunate to overlook such an eventuality. It is, however, yet not too late. Every one of us has to wake up and ask himself these questions. What is life mean for? Who am I? What is what is it I want to achieve in life? Consider these questions as significant for one's existence, as important as his daily bread and butter. Repeated deliberations on these questions would set one on the process which is known as preparation for death. The task meant to be carried out tomorrow requires a proper planning today. Since one does not know the precise moment of his death, he has to begin the preparation right now. The best preparation for death is to understand the principle of Anashakti Karma Yoga and make it the philosophy of one's life. We are one ourselves responsible for our entanglement in the phenomena of Maya. The illusion about the penancy of worldly things and of our own relation to them, we not only become unduly attached to this illusion, Maya, but also enjoy our captivity in its bondage, forgetting everything else. What is the way to regain the freedom of soul from this entanglement? Every day, practice the mental exercise given in the book Who Am I by the author of this book. Let the following concept sink deep in mind and make it a practice to imbibe it in each moment of living. Being a part of that omnipotent eternal entity, I am indestructible, everlasting, incorruptible, unchangeable, Avinashi Nirvikar soul. I am not this body, that the knowledge of the supreme truth, existence and bliss. Sat Chit Anand are my soul's permanent virtues. This world is a stage, not my property, on which I am only a performing artist. The more our convictions grow and become firm in the concept by autosuggestions, the greater becomes our enlightenment. Look after your wife, children, and other family members with great love, but be detached and do not consider them as your property. Instead, make them an object of adoration. They are fellow beings created by God for you to look after. Acquire wealth, but for a good purpose, not to accumulate and suffer like the honeybees. Carry out all your activities in the normal way like a worldly wise person, but change your point of view. Do not forget for a moment that the objects and beings of the world do not belong to you, that others are not your slaves. It is a simple and straight question of ownership between you and the Creator. Everything in this world either belongs to you or nothing belongs to you. It belongs to God. I and my cannot coexist with he and his. In a nutshell, this itself is the riddle of Maya. The entire science of yoga is meant to solve this very riddle. We commit sins because our perspective of self, I, and my is extremely narrow. It is confined to our present physical existence only. Make an outright endeavor to expand the boundaries of yourself to encompass all beings, since they belong to that omnipresent entity of which you are also a part. No one is alien in this world, everyone else is your own self. The sense of belonging should be of a noble order, like the relationship between a mother and her innocent child, and not that of a thief and the cash box of others. See the omnipresent God personified in all worldly beings and serve them with utmost devotion, instead of regarding your wife as your helper. Honor her as a deity like Mary in the church. Likewise, treat your sons and daughters, carry out your worldly responsibilities towards them according to worldly norms. Let your wife not be deprived of her physical and emotional needs, nor the sons and daughters of education and spiritual training. But a fair word of caution here. Do not ever think that they are your property, otherwise, the consequences will be very bad for you. You will fall into a great deception and will get into an unfortunate situation from which it would not be possible to extricate yourself, whatever effort you may make. The cause of all misery in this world is attachment, moha. You declare some land as your own, which from the beginning of creation had belonged to so many. The gold and silver too are products of nature. Your wife in this life might have been your mother in an earlier life. Souls are independent of entities. Souls are independent entities. None belongs to anyone. An ignorant person thinks that all these are his or her and therefore he or she has a right of utilization for his own sake. Wisdom tells otherwise. It says each particle of this creation is perpetually in fast motion, ever changing. Nothing is static here. The water flows, air moves, earth revolves. Old decayed cells of your body are deserting you continuously and are being replaced by newer ones. You cannot claim even a straw as your own. So be a part of the world, but do not be attached to it. If you wish to enjoy the waves of a running stream, watch them quietly by all means. Any attempt made to stop movement would only throw you aside disdainfully. Ignorance of eternal truth is the root cause of sorrow, adversity, misery, and pain. There is one and only one root cause of suffering at the time of death, immolation in the inferno of hell. Wandering of soul are ghost and spirit and repeatedly falling in the trap of the cycle of birth and death, and that is the veil of ignorance surrounding the soul. So, friends, throw away this mask of ignorance and become enlightened. Do not live and die as one of the lowly innumerable creatures of the world. Have a taste of immortality, realize and enjoy the truth of your immortality. God is love, worship is love, heaven cannot be bought. Flattering entreatments, prayers cannot deliver you from the bondage of ignorance and attachment. Rituals of religion can do little for the upliftment of soul. Do not expect others to free you from this bondage, since none is capable of doing it. Let your own self make an endeavor to free your soul. Udhare Atmanam. Become large hearted, benevolent, cultivate high thinking. Expand your perspective of self so that everyone else appear intimate. Fill yourself with love and sprinkle this nectar of love on every other living being of the world without any discrimination. Carry out your duties religiously. Let there not be any slackness in performance of your worldly responsibilities, but be like a lotus living in this world but detached from it. Be a karma yogi like King Janka. Be unattached, consider everyone as your intimate friend. Realize being part of the Almighty how great you are and holding your head high with pride. Say, so I myself is the God, that God with self enlightenment you can make your other world full of happiness. Then alone the thought of death would not trouble you. Life would appear to be like a game in which you are merely a player. You will be elevated and achieve the great goal of human life in this life itself. In order to prepare for death, begin to contemplate on the real nature of your soul right from this moment. As soon as you become convinced about your greatness, all bondage of Maya, Moha, illusion, and attachment will be shattered. The changed perspective would provide you lasting happiness. Declare to your soul loudly that you cannot become mean, petty, and selfish since you are part of the supreme eternal existence and bliss. About the author, Pandit Sri Ram Sharma Acharya, a seer, sage, and a visionary of the new golden era. His personality was a harmonious blend of a saint, spiritual scientist, yogi, philosopher, psychologist, writer, reformer, freedom fighter, researcher, eminent scholar, and visionary. He pioneered the revival of spirituality and creative integration of the modern and ancient sciences and religion relevant in the challenging circumstances of these present times. In 1979, he founded the Brahmvarchas Research Institute, the research center in Haridwar, India, dedicated to the integration of the modern and ancient sciences in the practical way, motivated by the noble goal of health and happiness for all. This center houses well equipped laboratories of hematology, biochemistry, neurophysiology, cardiology, phytochemistry, psychochemistry, yogiopathy, etc. At the age of 15, January 18th, 1926, a great Himalayan yogi, Swami Sarveswaranandaji, appeared before him in astral body from the flame of the Deepaka lamp and guided him throughout his entire life. The next 24 years of his life were devoted to 24 Mahapurusha Charnas, each consisting of the rhythmic recitation japa of 2.4 million Gayatri Mantra with strictest of disciplines. In 1943, he married Bhagavati Devi and ever since the saintly couple dedicatedly pursued the noble mission of spiritual upliftment of humankind. Realizing the potential of inspiring literature and its relevance in the present era of intellectual evolution, he had chosen writings as the principal mode towards uprooting the evil tendencies and blind faith from people's mind and arousing the indwelling wisdom, strength, and spiritual bliss. He wrote about 3,000 enlightening books in Hindi on almost all topics concerning human life. He translated the entire Vedic Vangmaya, 4 Vedas, 108 Upanishad, 18 Puranas, etc. in Hindi, elucidating the tradition, style, universality, and history of Vedic literature. He also practiced higher level sadhana on the arduous heights of the Himalayas and established enliven contact with the rishis of the Himalayas. During 1984-1986, he carried out the unique spiritual experiment of Suksham Sukshmikarna, meaning sublimation of vital force and physical, mental, and spiritual energies. He authored a special set of 20 books highlighting the future of the world and conveying the message of the dawn of new era of truth during the 21st century. On 2nd June 1990, he voluntarily shed his physical sheath. My God. For more information, today is the Mahasamadhi day of this great sage of Mother India. I conclude this video here. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Namaskar my dear friends. Thank you.